It's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the number one business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower, our mission is to inspire, and our mission is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources that are necessary to execute that big vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And on this particular episode, coming all the way from Korea, serving our country, as you can see in her uniform, is the one and only Tamekia. What's up? How are you?
Hey, Che, I am great. It is a wonderful day to be here, and I'm here for it.
Well, I'm excited. I don't think I've ever interviewed anybody in Korea. So this is pretty cool, by the way. So it's a first time for me. And you're tackling a really difficult subject, which is leadership. And let me start by asking the question, give us your definition of leadership, because it does mean a lot of things to different folks, so we can all be on the same page.
Right. Thanks. Leadership I think, is simply being a bridge for people from where they are to where you inspire them to be. And it's really moving all the barriers out of the way through different tactics so that people can achieve their greatest version of their own leadership.
So I'm curious, why do people struggle with leadership then? I mean, it's got to be if you've got a team, you've got to lead them. So I guess the question is, and I know it's obvious, but what's one, two, or maybe three reasons why organizations, 'cause we'll be talking about leadership within an organization, and maybe folks, you'll let me talk
Mhm.
about how you can be a leader of yourself as well. But why do, organizations struggle today with leadership, which has got to be as old as time?
I know you would think it'd be super simple, but I think a few reasons organizations struggle with leadership is one, there's a lack of the authenticity from the person or people in the top. Right. And so when those people aren't authentic with who they are, and they're not authentic with where their dreams are and where they want to take the organization, then I think that causes confusion throughout the organization, and it stifles what you need in order to move the organization forward. And I think I have to go back to just scripture. There's no vision. So if a leader doesn't have vision for an organization, that organization is gonna perish. All right, or in our sense, in organization, it becomes stagnant, and a stagnant organization is as good as a dead organization, in my opinion.
Hmm. Now, folks are seeing you in a uniform. So before I can ask you some more questions about leadership and all that, I've got to slow down first and say thank you so much for serving our country. We certainly appreciate it.
You're
And then
welcome.
my next question behind that is, you're over in Korea. Is this your first tour of duty? Have you been to other locations? I mean, we're just curious on the backstory with the guys, because they're curious. I mean, they're curious. You're in the Air Force
Yeah.
now. So take a moment, if you would. They can read your bio, I'm sure. They'll see how famous you are. But take a moment, give us your backstory that led you to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the Air Force for 17 years, surprisingly. Every time I say it, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a long time. But I started right in North Carolina. I grew up in Rocky Mount. And so from Rocky Mount, I went to school at North Carolina State, and I was a part of the ROTC program. There, I commissioned as a lieutenant. And my first assignment was to Alaska. I went crying the
Whoa,
entire
Alaska. That
plane
sounds kind of
ride.
cool. Was
Yes,
it?
it
Well, I'm,
was
I'm
cool.
curious. I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize. I know they're going to send me some nasty notes, but I'm curious. Was it cold in Alaska? I know people say it's cold, but was it really cold? Was it dark the whole time you was there? You've got to tell us.
So Alaska is a place that you everybody should go live there, or at least visit for a couple months. It was cold when it was time to be cold, and dark, and then it was hot when it was time to be hot. So you really have like your year is split with, a few months of daylight only, and then about like 9 months of darkness, in cold weather. It's really kind of
Whoa.
how it is here.
Wow. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing. So you were in Alaska. Okay, that's cool. Keep going. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off,
Hmm.
but we were just all curious. Did you learn how to ski while you were there? I'm joking. I'm joking. Did you?
Look, I can do anything outside because it was cold.
Okay,
So I
got it.
stayed inside. And Alaska has mosquitoes like like big
Whoa.
mosquitoes. So no, I stayed indoors for the most part and went to school.
Okay.
After
And
Alaska, I went to Hawaii.
oh, we
That
should
was
now we should
awesome.
really feel bad for you over here. I guess we should start crying over here
I
from
know.
Alaska to Hawaii. Tell us about that transition and that change. I mean, you were getting some plum assignments here.
hmm So the transition, it's kind of like a life transition, right? I went from a place that was mostly extreme temperatures to a place that was constant, constantly nice weather, constant same temperature, perfect for whatever you want to do. And that was amazing. It was an amazing assignment.
Now they're asking where at in Hawaii. You know, we got folks that have traveled. I've been to Honolulu, but what part of
Mhm.
Hawaii were you in?
Right. So I was in Honolulu, and we didn't leave the island. We did not leave the island for 4 years and enjoyed
No
it.
way. 4 years you stayed in
Mm-mm.
Honolulu the whole 4 years.
We did. We did.
Okay,
So,
that's
you
cool.
can go to Maui or Big Island or some of those other really phenomenal looking places, but the tempo of my work and my husband's work, it didn't allow us to go many places. But we enjoyed staying right there in Honolulu.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Was your husband serving as well?
He was
Or is? I'm
serving.
sorry, is or was. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say is or was. Was he serving at the
No,
time as
he
well?
was. He's
Okay.
retired. He's retired now, but he was serving also.
Oh, cool.
hmm
Okay, so you were in
So,
Honolulu. Continue on the story. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was so
all
excited.
right,
That was
all right.
cool.
Look, it gets better. So after Hawaii, we get stationed to Germany.
Alaska to Germany. I mean, to Hawaii to Germany. Okay, where at in Germany were you stationed?
So I was at a small German base, but it was close to Kolkum. And
Okay.
so, like, being in the economy, being with the people there, kind of removed from U.S. Military folks, it was awesome. It was like, once in a lifetime experience. The people were welcoming. I felt like I was at home in Germany, which is weird because I'm not German.
I can see from
You could
Rocky, North
tell a little
Carolina. Okay.
bit. So that was a great assignment. And then from there we went to Idaho for a little
Welcome
bit.
back to the United States of America. There's a lot of states in Idaho. There's nothing wrong with Idaho. If you're from Idaho, you have to be watching. We love Idaho. It's just wouldn't be
We
at the top
do,
of my list to visit. Be
but it was
stationed in Idaho.
Look, Idaho has everything you want. So if you're a outdoorsy person, you go to Coeur d'Alene. If you're a like metro city person that likes wineries and things like that, you go right up to Boise and Nampa. If you just like a quiet, reserve life, you can be like where we were at Mountain Home. Idaho is really a place I didn't think I would love, but I definitely loved Idaho too.
Okay, certainly better than Alaska.
Uh, I don't know. Every place was meaningful, and
Okay.
like every place had something else to teach and to offer, and so I don't know. They were all really, I guess, intentional assignments for us, and it worked out great.
Mm. Okay, and then from there, now were you picking up these leadership skills along the way? Tell us a little bit about that
Oh,
as
of
well.
course. Yeah, yeah, we can definitely talk about that. I think a pivot assignment was the one in Hawaii. Where I started to understand who I wanted to be as a leader and the mismatch between who I was and who I wanted to be. And really the demand on me as I grew in rank to have a different way to lead. You get more people, the missions change, you are changing and growing. People start responding to you differently. So that puts a demand on how you lead, and so every assignment was a place of adding to my leadership toolkit to determine what it is people need from me. And I think I should say that too. Leadership is also being the version of yourself that the people you lead need you to be,
Okay,
right? So
say that one more time again. I like
um,
that.
leadership, leadership is about being the version of yourself that your people need you to be. Um,
Okay.
And it's knowing what they need from you, and then being that, so then they can excel and promote, and the organization can do wonderful things if you are what they need you to be.
I love that. So, if we can talk to two type of individuals right now, if that would be okay. I guess question number one would be talk to the person who's inherited a whole new organization. They're new to the organization because you talk about leadership model for organization. So they were new,
Mhm.
the outsider, quote unquote, and they're now inherited a team that they've got to work with in order to get the results they're looking for. What would be one, two, or maybe three of your ideas that you would talk to that person that's got to inherit a whole new organization?
Right. And we do that all the time, right? Every 2 years or so, we are in the military. You're in where I sit, you're coming into a new organization, and you're
Wow.
normally somewhere at the top. So we're well versed in accepting new organizations and adapting to those cultures while we're changing those cultures at the same time. So I think the two things, right? I like to do things in twos. The military says threes, but I think our attention spans have gotten shorter over time, so I stick to two. Um,
I
First
agree.
thing, when you're when you're taking on a new team, find the strengths of the people who influence the organization, right? Find the strengths of the people who move that organization forward or backward. Find their strengths, and then make alliances with those people. And I think what we do in leadership, sometimes we come in and we let our position dictate how we manage and how we operate. But the position is for any qualified person, right? What you have to do with it is quickly learn who's really in charge of this organization, right? I know I'm the person sitting at the top, but who's really moving this thing forward? Who are the people that, if this person says yes, other people say yes? And you make alliances with those people really quickly, because you need their influence, you need their leadership so that you can actually lead the greater organization. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So first we got to find the influencers and then make sure we know who we are. And does that apply the same for
Hmm.
the person that's a senior person? They've been around, they've seen a lot, they've set in their own ways or trying to impart, I will say, their best practices on the industry. You talk about leadership models. So now I want to talk to the
Hmm.
seasoned, the veteran that's like, okay, I'm not the newbie on the block. I was raised through the ranks. Okay, so someone says, you are now in charge, and
Hmm.
you're working within a group of folks who at one point may have been your peers. And I don't know if this is an unfair question. I'm not sure. I'm sure you can handle it. Meaning that I'm now in charge of folks that are around me, right? And they're going to have to see me a little different from a leadership perspective. What would be your advice to someone that's going through that now, that's watching, that's listening, that's tuned in?
The best advice, because this does happen in our organizations,
Mhm.
when you are all of a sudden the leader of people you were peers to, the first thing you have to do very immediately is step into your role, right? You cannot rely on who you used to be for where you are, because that doesn't matter anymore. So once you have the position, own that position. I have a model that's called BOLD, right? It's beliefs, ownership, legitimacy, and drive. So when you're coming into a new position, you step boldly into it and you own it, right? You are the person in charge now. Doesn't matter where you came from or how y'all used to be friends yesterday. Today, you're the person in charge, and today a leader is needed. So today, you step into it and you lead as if you've been there the entire time.
Oh, I like that. And you mentioned it that you had a acronym for bold, and you said B stands
Hmm.
for beliefs. What are some of the
Right.
beliefs that a leader needs to have in order to be effective?
Believe that the people around you are supposed to be there. I think that's
Okay.
the quintessential belief to have when you're leading an organization. Make this assumption that if you're on my team, you're supposed to be here, and I'm gonna move forward. It doesn't matter if I like you. It doesn't matter if I know you. My initial assumption is you're supposed to be here with me for this time, and so we're supposed to be together, right? So you have to
Mhm.
believe that and not waste time figuring out, is this person supposed to be here? Do they deserve to be here? If that's all been decided, your job as the leader is to believe we're all supposed to be here.
I'm curious what your thoughts are to the person who's listening right now that may be an entrepreneur. A lot of our folks are entrepreneurs. They're dualpreneurs. They work full-time jobs and they're full-time entrepreneur and they're taking care of their families and being contributing back to the community. They might be listening saying, okay, in my company, in my organization, one of the struggles is Shay, if I don't do it, it doesn't get done right. So what do you say to the person that has a hard time and is like, I've got to have trust in someone to do it, and they're not going to do it the way I would do it, but I still got to have trust. So what's the question to you, Tamekia? The question is, how does someone release to others and focus on other areas versus trying to do it all themselves?
You are speaking my language. I am a product of someone who, growing up, that I was always doing the things for everybody in the house. And
Uh-huh.
so I carried that into the military. And it did not serve me well as I grew into different positions. I was just talking about this yesterday. What you have to do, so that you can multiply yourself, is you have to let things go that you really want to hold on to. So the way I do it is I find the few things that only I can do. Right now I'm a commander of an organization. There's some things that my signature can only get done. And I try my best to only do those things and empower other people to do the things that only they can do. And I teach them that this is you, this is not me. Now, to do that, I have to make sure that my intent is known,
Mm.
right? I have to make sure you know my heart. Your style is your style. If I want to move this mountain from here to there, I just need you to know that my intent is this mountain to be moved, right? I need this mountain moved because here's where we're going with we're going to build a bridge, so I need the mountain moved. Now,
Okay.
however you get that mountain moved, I trust you to do it. And if you do it in a way I don't like, this is the hard part. I let you do it anyway, right? Leadership is some ultimate humility. So even if you're going to move that mountain like little bit by little bit, okay, that's your style. My style is to bulldoze it and slide it over, right? But your style is little by little, and you want to count for all the pieces and draw them out how they look, when you move them. That's fine. That's your style. As long as this mountain gets moved, I have to let you move it your way. And then I
Mm.
follow up with some coaching to say, "Hey, I see how you move that mountain. Did that serve you well? Was that beneficial? Was that a good use of your time or your team's time? And maybe here's a couple other ways. The next time you move a mountain, you can do it these ways, right?" But inside, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, just bulldoze it." But that's my style. They don't need to move according to your style. They need to move according to your intent. You know.
We're talking to the one and only Tamekia Payne, who is right now currently in Korea. She's sitting back, chilling, relaxing. And I know you're thinking, Shay, she has it all together. Like, look at this, the
Mhm.
leader, the planner, the person that makes sure the team gets through. Shay, is there ever a time that something didn't go right in her life? I mean, something the time that there was ever a setback where it was just a disaster and she had to come back from that. Can you ask her that? Because I'm just curious. I love everything I'm hearing, but man, has she had to go through something? Has she had to break through something? So do you mind? I mean, this is a transparent moment, but was there ever a
Mhm.
time in your life or in your career where, well, it didn't go the way you wanted it to, and there was a lesson you learned, it was a setback, and you had to bounce back from it?
100%. So if you're gonna do well, you have to fail, right?
Yeah.
Um, I embrace failing because that's how you grow. The organization has to be able to fail. One thing that, oh gosh, I got 1,000 things that have not gone right. Um, like they just don't get broadcast, right? Because we have images to maintain.
Yeah.
But I know one thing that I've done is, that I found a flaw in my core approach to leading organizations is in believing everybody should be there, right? So I go into an organization with that confirmation. First of all, everybody here should be here. The truth of that is that's a risk. That, like, what if they're not? you know but I lay down that underlying thought so that I can aggressively pursue everybody should be here. Well, one time I did that, and it took me a long time to realize that one person who was on my team, um, they were not on my team, right? They were present in what I was saying, and they gave me the yes, I'm in agreement with you, and I'm on your side. And so I trusted them with the work comparable to their position.
Mhm.
Um, I did it. I did that, and I did it total trust. When it was time to see the end result, so this person was in charge of, creating this huge event for the population, so that they could have a reprieve from some of the work they had been doing. And the theme was for like Oktoberfest. So I trusted the person to take their portion of this pot and do it well. I didn't follow up with them along the way, right? I did not do verification of you knowing what you're doing. I let them totally do it. And then I showed up to that event, and I was immediately disappointed. And it did not look like it needed to look. And it was a representation of our brand. It was a representation of my leadership. And it was my first impression with my new boss.
Whoa.
So I had to recover. And I should say, part of what I do in the Air Force, it's a lot of stuff. But one thing we really focus on is creating the events on the base so that people can have a chance to take a break from what they're doing, so that we can rejuvenate, whether it's concerts or social service programs or things like that. So my reputation at that stage in my career was built on how well I executed things that people attended. And so this is my first go at it, my first time, and with my brand new hierarchy, and they were all there because I believed in that person. I hyped it up, and I told everybody to come, and they came, and it was flat. It failed really badly. It was embarrassing.
But you did it. I mean, first of all, thank you so much for being transparent. Thank you for being open. And, folks want to know, and I'm glad you were able to share that sometimes things don't go right. But as you said, you bounce
Hmm.
back. There's going to be some failure, and you learn from it. What do you do for fun when you're not out saving the world? When you're not out, doing what you do, leading organizations and making sure things are moving forward. What do you even do for fun these days?
That should be an easy question, but it's not. My job is fun. My job is
Okay.
literally managing funds for people, and so I have fun doing that. But when I need to recharge myself, I do that with reading. Like, I like to read. Right now is Audible books,
I love
right?
Audible.
Because that
Yeah.
that magnifies my time. I work out quite a bit, and I spend time with my family. I'm a mom. I have 3 kids, and so I like to recharge with them. And sometimes I just like to recharge by myself. Just sitting, and it's crazy, but planning helps me
Yeah.
recharge. Right,
Oh, yeah, because
thinking
I was going
about
to
what
ask you,
could
how do
be.
you juggle it all? That's going to be my next question. Like you said, your mom,
Um,
but then you have 3 kids, but then you also have a husband, then you also have this organization. What's your secret sauce, if I can say that, to being able to juggle all these priorities, have these balls in the air without making sure they don't fall?
Sometimes they fall.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
truth,
so that's
right?
so real.
Sometimes I'm not at my daughter's track meet. Sometimes I'm not at my son's programs. Sometimes I'm not here for the organization for a program or somebody that we're supporting, because it's about choosing the priority of the moment and trying to stick to that priority. Now, I am also guilty of multitasking, right? All the literature out there says it's not possible to multitask, but I believe it is. You just do a lot of things bad, but but you do a lot of things at once. So I do that too, right? I'm often in one meeting having a second one at the same time. That's a temporary situation, but that's what's happening. Or I'm somewhere at a soccer game, but I'm also sending a couple emails. And I know everybody's going to say how bad that is, but sometimes for a season, that's necessary. And right now, I'm responsible for the largest organization on this installation. So there's 900 people who are constantly moving on this mission, and so I can't not be there for that, and also can't not be there for my teenager, or my 3-year old. So the best way I
Wow,
do it is
that's a
I
big gap.
integrate.
Teenager, 3-year-old. I mean, you just toss it out there like it was no big deal. Someone said,
Yeah.
"Woo!
Yeah.
Congratulations!"
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. And
Yeah,
also help.
congratulations.
Then help.
You've seen the world from a whole other view. I'm sure as
Uh-huh.
well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
That's really cool stuff. One of the things that we have here at the Happy Entrepreneur Show, and we're going into this segment. We have a segment that's called "Today is my January 1st," and today is my January 1st is for those folks that are tuning in that watch us. We certainly thank you. For those folks that are watching the broadcast on one of the on-demand streaming platforms, or maybe you download the Happy Entrepreneur Show on the podcast and you're able to listen to it. Welcome. And you can go ahead and say those magical words with me right now. Today is my January 1st. I know every night we say that at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for all the new folks who are just tuning in, we welcome you into the family. Today is my January 1st represents a reset. It represents a restart. It means that your past no longer equals your future, that today is your January 1st. And because of that reason, you can do, be, have whatever it is you want. My question to Tamekia Payne on the other side as she's listening is, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what do you hear? And what was one of your January the 1st moments?
So I love that, by the way, because it encourages people to know that yesterday is yesterday, right? And today is right now. So moving right now. I was actually just on a phone call with a friend of mine, and she talked about resetting. So when I hear today is my January 1st, I think about a reset. And the thing that she said was that movement causes you to reset. And so when I hear today is my January 1st, I think about how am I going to move today that's different than yesterday, that's going to get me closer to what I want for tomorrow. Right. So I think that the thing to do with my January 1st is to keep moving, because in I'm moving, I'm resetting. And every time I get to reset and restart, recharge, renew, restore, I can make my future happen with the things that's in my control. I had a January 1st moment. I feel like I had them like throughout the day, where I get a chance to to reset. Um, but for us, for this organization, we had our one of the resets in our organization was when we all had all the leaders in the organization. So I consider there to be about 20 people who are the top leaders in the organization.
Mhm.
We had a moment where we first got together and we decided, who are we going to be? Right? Who are we going to be as an organization when this is all done? And funny, I'm at the end of this time now. So, like, who are we going to be when this is done? And we did an exercise, and we wrote a magazine cover. And it said, okay, the magazine cover about our organization in 2 years is going to say what? And we all sat there and wrote on this huge whiteboard. It's going to say this was the premier organization for the Department of Defense. It's going to say that people came into this organization feeling disempowered, and they're leaving here feeling empowered and fully equipped to take their position in this organization to the next level. And so that January 1st moment for us was something that we plastered all over the place, and we reminded ourselves of it. So when things got difficult in the organization, somebody in the room was smart enough to point us back to, hey, on our January 1st, when we came together, we said, this is what we're going to be. How are we going to use this situation to get us to right there, what's on our magazine cover?
Today is my January 1st. Thanks for sharing. I love that. That's a great story, by the way. A question folks might be curious as they're listening, two parts. Number one, are you and your organization and your company is what I'm looking at now, are you taking on any additional clients? And if so, what type of clients do you typically work with and help? And number two, how can folks best stay in the conversation with you? How can they best connect with you?
Right. So my business right now is the government's business of being an airman. Right. So hopefully I can come on at a later show and promote some of the things that I'm doing
Absolutely.
personally for leadership.
Absolutely.
I would love to
Absolutely.
share those things. And then and the second thing, how to get in touch with me, I'm on LinkedIn and Instagram and Facebook. All of them are Tamekia Allen Payne, and I love for people to reach out and we can exchange tips and advice and maybe some ideas of how I've been leading before, and I can share those products that I've created along the way.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to going to Hawaii, by the way. My wife loves Hawaii. So, next time you're on the way to, we'll skip Idaho, but we'll definitely take Hawaii, by the way.
You gotta go to Idaho. You gotta stop at Idaho. Like
Yeah.
you have
I'll
to.
talk to her about that.
You can
She's
think
got
about it.
Mexico and some other things in her mind, Puerto Vallarta and some other spots first. I'm joking with you. I love Idaho. If you're watching Idaho, thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We want to show you some love. But in all seriousness, let me first say thank you so much for being on the Happy Entrepreneur Show. Because of Erica and her ability to collaborate, you and I were able to connect. So let me say thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
But thank you so much. And thank you, the viewers. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here every night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We appreciate you because without you, well, there is no show. So let me remind you, which I love to do, that you're awesome, that you really are amazing, that you've got so much greatness inside you, and that today, in fact, is your January 1st. And because of just that one reason, your best is still yet to come. Isn't that kind of cool? Your best is yet to come. Your best is yet to come. With that being said, my name, by the way, is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And we'll make some good things how we connect again next time. And remember this, buddy. Remember this one thing. Time is long. Life, on the other hand, well, it's very, very short. So you got to live in that moment. And you got to make it count. God bless me. Wish you success. Thanks a lot. We appreciate you. I'm not coming to Korea no time soon, but be safe. Continue to serve. And we'll see you when you get back here outside of Idaho. I'm just joking. We out maybe down in Carolina at the Aggie Fest. No shame. Peace. I'm out. Bye.